Talk to me about Stormont.
Well, it's good. I mean, let's see what happens today. I mean, we've had a few moments where we've become quite close to getting a deal across the line, and it's fallen apart at the last minute. So let's give all of the actors there, all the participants there, the space they need to have these final sets of negotiations. I really wish Jeffrey Donaldson well. I think the leadership he's shown at this moment has been really tough. It's a very difficult thing he's doing. But if we can get Stormont up and running again, it would be huge, because there's a lot of pent-up investment in Northern Ireland, in public sector wages, in investment for public services, and then also all of the challenges that have with identity politics there. If we can just get things facing the future again, then culturally, politically, and economically, it would be good news for Northern Ireland and the whole UK and the island of Ireland.
What do you see as potential elephant traps?
Well, there's lots of personalities. The Unionist movement and the DUP as a party is a very, very broad church with lots of very strident views in it and lots of characters there. Jeffrey and the leadership team, because he has a good leadership team there, would have been doing a lot of negotiation. It's not just him making a declaration on behalf of his party. He would have done a lot of work behind the scenes to try and get this whole broad movement to the place where they can accept to go back into Stormont. There's a lot here. Everything in Northern Ireland is not just about the bits of negotiation that's in front of them. There's a lot of history there as well, and all of these things come together at moments like this.
Confident?
I'm never going to be overconfident.
Not when it comes to Northern Ireland politics.
But I do want to express just how exciting it will be for the whole of the UK and the island of Ireland if Stormont can get up and running again. It'll be a massive moment, because there was a big, political change at the last elections, which was 3 years ago now, and that meant that Sinn Féin would go in as First Minister. And that means, and of course, with power sharing, they have equal power. But it's a big moment symbolically, and it's completely correct that this is actually expressed by Stormont being up and running, and politics can adapt to these changes.
Any issues as far as Sinn Féin running Stormont is concerned?
Well, what we've seen at the moment, Jeffrey Donaldson has always said that actually the fact that Sinn Féin won in the last Stormont elections was not a barrier. If this happens, then it's a big moment for him, because lots of people doubted his word by saying that he would go in as Deputy First Minister. Of course, they have equal power, but there's a symbolism there as well. So we need to make sure that we can get Stormont up and running. It will be a big moment, and let's just hope they can do it. I really, really wish them all the best today, and hope they can get across the line.
Minister in the last hour, Housing Minister, said British homes for British people. Is that something that the Labour Party would agree with?
Well, actually, when the last Labour government, we introduced measures that made sure that people who do come here have to have work, and then also have to be working for a period of time before they can claim things like housing benefits. So those or housing allowances. So it is right that people who are in areas where there is a real acute challenge with housing know that housing does go to people who are already born and raised in certain communities, because if they believe people are coming in, it can damage the fabric of that community. But let's just be clear about what the real challenge is here. We're not building enough houses. With the Labour government, if we get one in the election this year, we will build 1 million houses very rapidly, because we need to make sure we get back to the fact that we are backing the builders and not always being dragged back by the blockers in the Conservative Party. So that's the fundamental challenge we have here, and we need to get back to that place.
OK, £65,000 is enough for a train driver, says the Minister. Do you agree?
Well, get in the room and negotiate then. I mean, every single one of these, the industrial disputes we've seen, has only ever been solved when the government gets in the room and negotiates. Don't forget Grant Shapps, when he was doing the job 5 jobs ago as Transport Secretary, he refused to meet the train unions.
Yeah, but that was then. This is
no, that was then, but then the seeds of acrimony were baked in at that point. We are back.
Mark Harper said that he would be happy to talk to them at any stage, and yet still we find that commuters are in a position where they can't get to work.
Of course, and I represent a community in the city of Brighton and Hove. 35,000 people leave that city every day by train for work. It inflicts so much pain on families and individuals, economic pain for those who need to get to work, but also it impacts communities like the one that I represent in Parliament.
Do you think £65,000 is enough?
I think these things should always be negotiated by unions, the workers and the employers themselves.
Was that a yes or a no?
Both of them should get in, both parties have the duty to get in and negotiate these things. I am not going to decide here and negotiate.
Sounds like a lot of money to me.
Well, you know, £65,000 is more than the average wage. It is a good wage.
Double the average wage.
Yeah, but let's get into the room and make sure that the negotiations should unfold. It's not just about money. Some of this is about terms and conditions as well.
Yeah, but my question is £65,000 enough for
I am not
driving
the
a train?
person that is going to decide who gets paid what right across our public services. These things have to be negotiated. And when negotiations happen in good faith, that is a way of showing respect for workers in our public services. And it's about time this government showed a bit more respect for those people who are working in our public services and keeping our country going.
Tell me about your plan for life sciences, because the government sits there most mornings and says Labour doesn't have a plan.
Oh, we certainly do have a plan for lots of things, certainly economic growth, and now we're launching our plan for life sciences. You know, global exports for life sciences used to be 9%.
What are life sciences?
We used to have life sciences is all of the developments, the scientific developments which impact our human health. So it's medicine, it's vaccines, and all of those things which transform our health. We do so through university research, we do so with pharmaceutical companies in the private sector. When we all work together, we can have huge breakthroughs. Our global share of exports was 9%. 14 years ago. Now it's gone down to 4%. So it shows that we're missing out on all of that potential. Bearing in mind that AstraZeneca alone and their exports account for 2% of our whole exports as a country. We need to get back to that point where we're fully maximising that. We'll do so by setting up a new Office of Regulatory Innovation so we can streamline new innovations that have an impact on health or our economy straight through. We're going to move from 1 to 3 year to 10-year funding so that government funding can be matched by private investment and we can leverage that in a focused way. And we're going to make the NHS a great place for innovation. So innovation can come into the NHS swifter, but crucially, all those blockages that rolled out across the NHS are going to be whittled away by Wes Streeting, the Shadow Health Secretary. We're launching the scheme together so that the NHS can make sure that we get the innovation straight there. And for those innovations that are being brought up in Britain, they are being rolled out in the best market that we have, which is the NHS, which benefits the economy, jobs, and also the health of the nation. Bearing in mind, if we get this right, the pharmaceutical companies say that that will create £10 billion worth of investment to the economy and 77,500 jobs created by 2030.
Well, that was comprehensive, wasn't it? No drivel there at all. It's nice to see you as always. Thanks for taking the time. Thank you.